What are the 5 signs that it's time to stop self-managing your Richmond rental? So this is a really interesting question that I've actually asked myself before, our property management company was managing my family's personal rentals. And before I get into the 5, signs, let me share an example of a friend of ours, dear friends of ours, who they don't own 10 rental properties. They own 2. And the husband, Ben, travels a ton, so he can't deal with self-managing his 2 properties because he travels so much for work. Well, and then his wife, our dear friend, Jennifer, can't self-manage these properties either because she's busy with her 2 boys. She actually has her own business on the side. She is all in as a mama as well, just hanging out with her 2 boys and taking them back, hanging out at sporting events and doing all the things, right? So they're just really busy, if you can relate to that. And they just didn't want to deal with the potential headaches that could pop up with self-managing their properties. So if that's you, then you want to, or if you can relate to that, then you're going to want to watch this video. So the 5 signs are these. Number 1, so if you've ever taken an emergency phone call at like 2 a.m. in the morning from a tenant, then that's a problem. So let's set the scene here. So if it's only happened one time, then maybe that's an exception. But even if it's only happened one time, I think it's the dread of like, oh my gosh, when could this happen again? A 2 a.m. phone call where a pipe burst, especially with all this nasty weather, this awful winter we've had here in Richmond, Virginia, this year in 2026. You just feel like you're on call 24/7. There's no backup, and it's an inconvenience, to be awoken in the middle of the night, or on a Sunday while you're in church, or just with family. It's just an inconvenience. So you can actually offload that to a property manager and let them take care of all of those 2 a.m. phone calls and all of those inconvenient situations for you. That's number 1. Number 2, you absolutely dread the first of the month. Now, the first of the month should be a happy time. You're about to get paid, for a property that you own. So, a tenant is potentially paying off your mortgage. That's a beautiful thing. That should be an exciting time. But if a tenant is late one time, and you have to make that phone call, and you have to either, and if it's only happened once, then we're all forgiving, and hey, no problem, things happen. But if it's a recurring issue, then you have to you got to put your foot down and get a little more aggressive. And that's when things start to become uncomfortable. Again, a really good property manager, you're never even going to field those calls. You're never even going to worry about it. We're going to take care of all of those issues for you. Make sure that you're getting paid on time. And by the way, that actually starts with screening tenants properly on the front end and looking at their actual rental history to see whether or not they've been late in the past, for example. So we take care of all of that on our end. That's sign number 2. Sign number 3 is maintenance is slipping through the cracks, or just maintenance issues in general. Let me give you an example. So back in a previous home that my wife and I, now we weren't renting this property, but you're to understand why I'm telling you this story. My wife and I were owned a property in Midlothian, and I went to my wife and I was like, honey, and I'm like, I am not Mr. Fix-It, okay? We have people that handle all those things for us. So I said, honey, the light is out in the laundry room, and I can't figure out what's wrong with it, right? We need to hire an electrician, okay? So my wife hires, and the last time she'll hire an electrician for an issue like this, but she calls an electrician. The electrician comes over, and he literally looks up at the light in our laundry room, and he reaches up and he turns the bulb, and the light comes on. And he literally says this true story. He says, that'll be $100. My wife was like, never again, Clayton. So imagine that's a tenant. These things happen, and it's maddening. So Let us deal with all of these maintenance issues. Nothing's going to fall through the cracks because we have somebody on call 24/7. We're really good at big emergencies. We've got all of the contractors for anything that you can possibly think of that can step in and handle an emergency call very quickly. So you just don't have to deal with it. You've also got deferred maintenance with tenants just kind of ignoring issues until they become a $4,000 repair. Again, that's why we do multiple property checks per year to make sure that there's no deferred maintenance. So that is sign number 3. Sign number 4 is you've had to cancel or cut short something that like a personal thing, like a ball game, a vacation, God forbid, right? So time with the kiddos, time with your significant other. You've had to cancel or cut that stuff short. So you don't want to, at least I don't, because I've dealt with this myself. You don't want to be distracted at dinner. You don't want to have to tell your spouse, again, hey, I've got to go deal with this issue. Let a really good property management company handle those issues for you so you're not pulled away from the things that matter the most. That's sign number 4. And sign number 5, finally, is you've Googled how to get rid of a tenant. So if that's you, then listen, let us handle that. So, whether the eviction laws in the state of Virginia are very specific. We know the laws, we follow the process, of course, so that we don't get in trouble, you don't get in trouble. But sometimes, unfortunately, you got to evict a tenant. Now, of course, we work really hard to make sure, as I said a couple of minutes ago, to make sure that all of our pre-screening of tenants is done thoroughly so that we don't end up having to evict a tenant. But, it does happen, and it's not fun. But let us handle the not fun part so you don't have to worry about that. That's sign number 5. So look, a PM handles all of these. A good property management company will handle all of these issues for you. And if you value your time as much as I do, and you've dealt with any of these 5 signs, then it might be time to reach out to Mission Realty Property Management and talk to us about what it would look like to manage your property. And look, I'm going to put a link in the description below for a free rental analysis that will, it's really detailed. It'll tell you exactly what it would cost for us to take over renting your property, because I also know that that's an issue. And we already recorded another video that completely breaks down our pricing very transparently, so you know exactly what it costs to do business with us as well. But I got a really cool free tool that you'll be able to access in the link below. So look, again, if you're interested in property management, you think it's time, reach out to us. We'd love to have a conversation with you. Appreciate you spending time listening to this, and we'll see you next time.